Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call Thursday, April 10th, board meeting to order. Lucy, will you call the roll?
Supervisor Tomlin.
Here.
I'm here. Township Manager.
Here.
Trustee Bowman.
Here.
Dan.
Here.
Buford DK.
Here.
Will Hyde.
Here.
Assessor here absent. Director Marks is excused. Highway Superintendent's here, and Director Gillen.
Okay, please stand and join your pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Freedom of Information Act requests are for everyone to read, so we'll move on to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward.
Just have a few comments. Praise be to God for raising up Lori Wilhoit, Bonnie Barrington, and Kelly Ziegler for their victories last week. They will bring back accountability, transparency, community engagement, and respectability to Ela Township. They will drain the Ela swamp and make Ela great again. It is crucial that Bonnie Barrington be appointed into her new position ASAP so that she can have a head start on assessments and staffing. God bless America.
What is your name?
John Schnecker, 660 Ginger Trail. You got that? The microphone.
Do we need to hold that to speak?
Okay, it'd be best to just build into it, right?
Yeah.
In order for it to be recorded.
Good evening. First, I would like to express my gratitude to the departing board members for their dedicated service to our wonderful township. I also want to congratulate the continuing board members on their recent election victories. I am truly thankful to the residents of Ela Township for the trust and confidence they have placed in me as the next Ela Township assessor. Over the past 2 years, I have attended multiple meetings and applied for the position of Township Assessor as a qualified candidate and a resident. At the November 28, 2023 meeting, the majority of the board appointed another candidate, and I was told the residents would have their opportunity to make their selection in 2025. The results are in, and the residents have chosen me for this role. Given the upcoming employment changes in the office at the end of the month, along with the provisions outlined in Senate Bill 2504, it is vital that I be given the opportunity to commence my service as soon as possible. My involvement in the upcoming employment decisions will enable me to create the necessary team in the office to advance my goals as the assessor. It also allows me to advocate effectively for the continued presence of townships in Lake County and, more importantly, throughout the state of Illinois. This is a critical moment, and your prompt action in this matter is crucial. I respectfully request the board add appointing me to fulfill the role for the remaining 7 months of the current term to the May agenda. Per the contract with the current assessor, it allows for the position to be given 14 days notice to terminate. I ask this so I may actively participate in the assessments I will be responsible for defending when they are due to the county on 7/15/2025. I am looking forward to beginning my service to the residents of Ela Township. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. I noticed on the agenda there's a few items with accounting packages and cloud storage and that. I didn't see any competitive bids in there, so I'm hoping this board would just pass the bills tonight that need to be passed to carry on and leave the new board vote on that stuff and decide what's going on with those things, because there's no competitive bids that are in the packet at all. And it was a great election for the people of Ela Township. Thank you.
Anyone else? Now?
Hi, I'm Larry Bowman. I live at 1706 West Mockingbird, Pfluger, Illinois. I'd like to thank the voters of Ela Township for giving me the opportunity to serve for 4 years on the board to continue to help and grow Ela Township. I'd like to thank Gloria and Lucy for all the years of community service for Ela Township. They've made Ela Township a better place to live. I've lived in Ela Township for over 30 years, and I've never witnessed such a disgraceful election for local people in my history of living here. Lies, misleading comments that were made only to hurt, cause personal harm to people, for no other benefits except personal disagreements of their agendas. I would like to set the record straight on some comments that made about me personally. I'm not a communist, I'm not a Nazi, and I am a loyal patriot of the United States of America, and I fly the flag out in front of my house every day. I'm a registered voter in Ela Township and Kildare and pay my taxes and have been for 30 years. I've been accused of missing a lot of meetings, and to the best of my recollection, I've only missed 2 in the 20 years of board meetings that I've been a member of Ela Township. And I can't remember exactly why I missed those meetings, but it might have been the passing of my parents, their death, the death of a nephew that was 27 years old, was a firefighter, accident that my daughter went through, that she had to go through multiple surgeries to walk again, or my other daughter who had life-threatening cancer, or the birth of 3 of my grandkids that I was down to be there for supportive help in the families, or the mourning of a good friend, John, in this area, or it might have been the death of a family member of some of you that are sitting here today that I was at the funerals. My grandfather used to say, and it's been a long-standing issue, if you disagree with things that are going on, you agree to disagree. You sit and talk about why, or talk about how you can resolve things. If you disagree or have a problem with a company, you don't buy the product anymore. You boycott it. You don't burn it. If you're that dissatisfied with living in Ela Township, then maybe you should move. Or if you're that dissatisfied with what's going on in the United States, maybe you should move to Ireland. Thanks.
Any other comments? All right, moving forward. It's approval of the board meeting minutes of March 13th, 2025. Can we have a motion?
Need a second?
I'll say.
Any changes, corrections, questions?
I sent in a minor change earlier to Lucy.
Yes, and I responded.
Okay.
So I don't see a reason to change the board meeting minutes at all, and I explained to you why.
Okay.
So with that said, can we have a motion? I'm take the roll, please.
Trustee Wilhite? Yes. Trustee Sam?
Yes.
Supervisor Pomeroy?
Yes.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Newford-Beatty?
Yes.
Okay, next is committee meeting minutes. Can we have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the COW of March 26th?
Motion.
The communication committee is from April 3rd. And that's all I have. There's a motion?
Second.
Second. Any corrections? Okay, hearing none. Lucy, we call the roll, please.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Newford-Beatty?
Yes.
Trustee Wilhite?
Yes.
Trustee Sam?
Yes.
And Supervisor Pomeroy?
Yes. Next is approval of the board audit from March 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2025. General Town Fund, $321,229.08. General Assistance Fund, $3,853.77. General Road Fund, $22,596.15. Permanent Road, $75,872.07. Park Maintenance Fund, $19,076.84. Cemetery Maintenance, $11,629.06. Total all funds, $454,256.97. Can we have a motion to accept the board audit as read?
So moved. Second.
Questions?
Yes.
Okay. Comment? Which page?
Part of our package
Yes?
includes our revenue expenditure report.
Okay. Yep.
And I feel that we don't give our treasurer appropriate recognition of a job well done. I looked at that. If you look in here and you compare, as we'll be talking about later, but budget versus actual and raising revenues, I went through this and added this up as far as our investment process, and I know taking care of that as far as investing our money, CDs, money market, etc. If one were to add up the variances, and they're all positive variances, of our interest income coming out in excess of budget, that number is over $257,000 in excess of budget. So, Gloria,
Over the budget?
over, yeah.
Thank you.
That's revenue that's come into the township from expertise of managing that money.
Thank you.
So, our treasurer, I think, deserves recognition for a job well done.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Okay, so we have any other questions or comments about?
I just had a quick question.
Sure.
Page 1 of 10, the last line.
Revenue expense? No,
Expenses.
okay. I'm sorry, page 1.
1 of 10.
Yep.
The last line, 11600.
Yep.
The bus put under administration and not under transportation.
Yeah, transportation is under the general fund.
Okay.
And it has, that's where it's coming under capital improvements.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Okay, then, Lucy, the roll, please.
Trustee Wilhite?
Yep.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Supervisor Pomeroy?
Yes.
Trustee Sam?
Yes.
Trustee Newford-Beatty?
Yes.
Okay, next is monthly updates from elected officials and department heads. I'd like to give a shout out to Assessor Herb for a job well done in the last week or two. She took the initiative to reach out to our Lake County assessor, and worked together in coming up with a new report that she can file with them, with the county, so that our IMS software works with their Tyler Technologies, with the reports that they needed. And by doing this, she has saved Ela Township thousands of dollars. We are not required to then purchase new Tyler software, which would, like I said, ran a lot of money, and also is going to save a lot of money for Cuba, Vernon, Shields, Libertyville, and Grant Township as well. I'm just glad it worked out that way. And it also cancels bill number, I forgot what the bill number is. There's a House bill number that was being sent in by the state rep or senator from Libertyville Township, excuse me. And I'm glad it worked out, so we no longer have to, that bill was canceled and it no longer is going to be moving forward. And in fact, there were negative comments about the Tyler software, which is what we were trying to avoid, in the Daily Herald this week. So, here, HB 2344. I have it here, yes. In fact, the comment in the Tribune said that when Cook County signed up for the software, it was supposed to run about $75 million, and they're up to $265 million, excuse me. So, kudos to Assessor here for doing that, and we all owe her a debt of gratitude for that. Okay, we'll move on. I have one more thing. This week, the Village of Kildare Police Chief called me and asked me if we would consider helping out in the month of May. They lost an employee this week whose daughter was supposed to get married next month. The employee's name was Tammy Dreyer, and she served the community for many, many years. Her daughter's getting married in May, and is asking for the township to help in some way to keep the costs down, and that is by the Village of Kildare decided to hold the wedding reception in their boardroom, assuming they keep it to 50 people or less. So what the Village of Kildare is asking is that Ela Township would transport those guests to the wedding from a parking lot, still to be chosen, but most likely Best Buy's parking lot, and bring them to the Village of Kildare. It starts at 4 o'clock and will end around 8 o'clock on May 17th. It's a different date. So I talked to our insurance company, and they told me what I would need in order, if we're okay with it, to move forward with that. And it's insurance, of course, and a contract. So, of course, time is of essence to know whether we can do this or not, so I would like to at least poll the board and see if they'd be okay with it.
And I would like to offer my services to drive one of the buses, to offer to the Village of Kildare,
to the Webster Costello Township.
She was a very dedicated employee for Kildare and part of the Kildare Police Department.
Okay, so I have one in favor. I'd like to do it as well. I'd be in favor of doing this. This one way of working with our municipalities, and people ask what Ela Township does, and this is one of those occasions you can help out. So if I'd like to pull the board, because there will be a contract, we'll have to agree, but I don't want them to go through all this if no one's in favor of it.
Well, two of my concerns were first the insurance, right?
They have.
Which you answered earlier, and then the cost to the township, which you said there's no cost. And then my third concern was if we do it for one employee, and I know cancer is horrible, but what's to stop other people from asking us to do that same service? So those were just my concerns, and two have been answered.
Yeah, I have to echo what Hossie saying, are we opening the door, we do this, is everybody going to be approaching us to do something that is not in the normal course of township services. So I empathize with the situation, but I also look and say, what's going to stop fellow Ela residents from saying, we did it for this person, can we do it for us?
Again, this isn't from resident to resident. This is a municipality that we serve, yes.
Mm-hmm. I do.
So that was the reason why I was willing to do it. So, Lori, any comment?
Again, I feel terrible that they happened, but I have to agree. Lake Sarah could ask for this too, and it could be something that we can look down upon if we don't do it for another person. It's just setting an example. I think if we, had some sort of GoFundMe that maybe help them with that, people could donate personally to transportation. I'd be willing to do that, but to have our buses, insurance, and gas and reputation, I'm hesitant.
Okay. Sorry.
If this happened to another person other than the one that's happening now, what would stop us from helping them out also? This is a very sad time
we're not talking as the resident either. They were a government, they did work for the government. They were community service, so to speak. And I don't know how many years, I don't know. But,
We could talk about it at the cow or have a special meeting. This is the first I'm hearing about it. And I saw the email from Michael Talbot today.
yeah, we just found out about it yesterday, actually, that they were asking me this. So it's just a sudden thing. So I said I would bring it up today to see what would be needed. And I already told them we would need liability, auto liability insurance, contract, and name this additional insured. So, and they were all willing to do that. But I'll have to go back to them and tell them it's a no deal then. Leave it to it. So,
I'm willing to offer my services to drive one of the buses to facilitate this.
I know, but if there's still 3 against, we can't move forward with it.
San Molenfield Township.
All right, we'll move forward. I have no other comments. We'll move forward to, Trustee Stevens.
Thank you. So our next Parks meeting is April 30th. I also had the privilege earlier to, in the week, as many people know, I live in Hawthorne Woods, and there was a subdivision, Kemper Lakes, that is, they had a public hearing to discuss just some expansion of homes, and a lot of the residents that were there, including myself, were against that. And it was well attended by Hawthorne Woods as well as other residents. I just want to say thank you to everybody on this board, and congratulations to the people that have, so far, that have won. It's been an amazing time, just learning, working with Gloria, Larry, Lori, and of course Lucy. And it's been a privilege, and I wish everybody the best. Thank you. And Ted. Sorry. Ted. That's why you never think, because you always tend to miss somebody, right? Thanks to everybody.
Trustee Sam, any report?
Other than relaying health and wellness status, everything is moving. Actually, they're very busy. I mean, from the standpoint of referrals, we've got 16. The lending closet held 56 families. So it's full, which is very good. And now we're at the point where if you want to make a donation, they ask you to call ahead of time, right? But medical equipment is always in need. And as far as our referring items out, etc., and reaching their goals while Director Mark is still out, they seem to be running very well. So it was a positive situation.
When is she returning?
June.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Trustee Whitlight?
We had to cancel our last community center meeting, so we have to reschedule that.
Okay. Trustee Bowman?
Nothing there. Committee meeting for the highway department is next week, so, and I refer to Mike if he's had any updates that he wants to talk about.
Okay. Clerk Crowley, any report?
No, I just hope none of you are in this person's shoes.
Okay. Manager said.
So to kind of further discuss the status of Senate Bill 2504, yesterday I drove to Franklin Park to attend the quarterly MTA, the Metropolitan Township Association meeting, where we received a legislative update that the bill is in committee, in the executive committee, and they have a new sponsor. It was changed to the Senate majority, or the Senate President rather, Senator Harmon. And there's been no movement on it for a couple of weeks. And so the key takeaway there was, while on paper that was a good thing, what MTA is finding is no legislator individually supports the language, and that's why it was moved to be sponsored by the Senate President. And the reason that it's kind of just sitting there is because this is a governor's initiative. So when the governor wants it to move is when it will move quickly. So we are still very much keeping an eye on the track of 2504, because what if we blink, it might be too late. So one thing we are now requesting a call to action for all Ela residents. I will be attending TOIs, the Township Officials of Illinois, their lobby day at the end of April, and where we'll once again meet with Representative Sayed and Senator Hills. So we are asking Township residents to submit a What My Township Means to Me letter. This letter could be a paragraph, it could be a page, 10 pages, or anywhere between, and I will be hand delivering them to the representatives in Springfield. We feel that this is more meaningful than just 200 signatures of the same petition. They can really get a feel for what their township means to me. So any interested residents can submit their letters to the info@elatownship.org email address, and then I can be reached if there's any questions. We're moving with the .gov domain. We have it secured now, so our IT firm and Proud City, who is the website domain holder, they're working together. They expect it by the end of next week. The elatownship.gov domain should arrive. Pickleball and tennis courts are open, so want to go out there in the snow and play, have at it. That's all I got.
So the townships, the consolidation of Pittsburgh and City, how many, I know I sent you an email about the residents, like how many residents have you gotten? Any more letters saying the importance of townships?
So we put it out, we put the call out yesterday on Facebook, and I think we're up to 3 residents so far. And I think the community center is getting some traction too, so we're expecting them to start flooding in soon. So one thing, thank you for bringing that up. I'm leaving for Springfield on the 28th, midday on the 28th, so if we could have those letters in by 8 a.m. on the 28th, so we can print them in.
Besides Facebook, it was also posted with the e-blast on Monday. It went out the same thing.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
And you visited all the townships, all the villages.
I did, and we're requesting letters from them as well. And I already know that I have 2 coming this week, or next week, rather. Next week. Any questions for Ted? Okay, thank you. Susan?
So to piggyback off of what Ted was saying, we had already gotten a petition and some form letters signed, and now we're creating, after yesterday's email or e-blast, we're creating space for folks to come in and sit down and write a letter so that we get those read, because obviously folks are coming in our doors have a very large vested interest in the continuation of the township. One of our biggest fans will be a gentleman that came in last week. His wife was exercising, and he came in to actually get her car. We walked over to the center to get her car to go to the bank because he had gotten an email from Best Buy, and it was following up his calls because they said, "Oh, we're so sorry, we had overcharged you a few years ago when you bought your laptop." And I think we all know where this is leading, and what it led to was him being on the phone with them for over an hour, giving them access to his computer and sharing all of his banking information. And he was on his way to the bank to get $40,000 cash. Because he had given them all of his information, they were able to consolidate his other accounts into his savings account so he would be able to withdraw said money. For whatever reasons, the stars aligned. We have a relationship with him. They traveled with us several times. She was out exercising. He stopped in my office and he said, "Susan, I think we're in trouble," and then proceeded to tell me all of this. I immediately called the police. I happened to be serving lunch 20 minutes later, so I couldn't go to the bank with him. I sent Jim to the bank with him. The police met them there. They were able to stop everything, but the wheels were rolling to do that. And this is an incredibly intelligent gentleman. He is a retired accountant with a law degree, and he Best Buy, they didn't call me, I called them. It's just a banking error. I had to get the money out. It's just terrifying. It's terrifying that these things happen, and now with AI, there are people that are able to mock voices and make it that much more believable. And I know that they're going to be coming back to this gentleman even because they got this far. While he was at the bank getting his stuff cleared up with Jim and his son and the police, they called their home phone. He had called from his cell phone, they called his home phone, and that's perfect. So we are trying to we have talked about this in every single event that we've had at the center for the last week, and we are trying to get the word out as much as we can. We run STEM classes every other quarter, and we've decided we're now moving that every quarter. The FBI used to come in and do some for us even, and they no longer have that ability, so we are tapping into other resources to do that. So there's that. Yeah, so it's been a really interesting couple of weeks. On the youth end, things are very busy, and we have a wait list now for 2 of the 3 buses for next year for Homework Club. As I've shared with you before, we have upwards of 40 people on each week for camp, so that is full and then some. Programming for the current newsletter was April and June, and that is going very well. I know that we're going to be talking about line item transfers later, and I know that in the programs we're transferring money because we went over in programs, and that was a matter of the day trips being more popular and being more expensive than what we thought they were. But to mirror that, then the revenues for our programs came in double what we got. So, I mean, again, not great, but at least we definitely covered all of our costs and then some. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good point. Mike, you're next.
As Ted said, the pickleball and tennis courts were open April 1st. Unfortunately, we had to order one more 34-foot section of windscreen to replace an older piece that was on the tennis courts that was pretty weather worn. And we also ordered 400 feet of windscreen for the north parking lot of the community center. The highway department is still in the process of looking for a part-time seasonal worker. The one candidate that we had planned on hiring was very interested. We called him to see when he can come in, and he rejected the job. So we're going to start over again. Hopefully we can find somebody pretty quickly because it's not going to be too much longer and the grass is going to need to be cut. Our road resurfacing design has been completed, and at this moment we are waiting for Long Grove and Kildeer's approval from the state because they're using MFT funds for their program. We are still anticipating that it will be going out for bid early summer with completion in the fall. That's all I have.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to line item transfers. Can we have a motion to approve line item transfers as presented for the close of fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025? Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
Can you just give an update, like why were these done in the first place, just to let people know? A high-level summary of the line item transfer.
Well, we always do it so that we don't have any negativity in the lines. We just take and we keep it within the fund. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, that's basically it. So at the end of the lines that you see are the lines that we overspent. So we take from the lines that were under budget and move the funds to the
Normal bookkeeping.
to the over budget, so it's a zero out.
Like we try to do it like, for instance, with unemployment, we try to keep it in another category that relates to other taxing, payroll taxes, so to speak.
So like unemployment was taken probably out of, I can tell you in a minute, 511, which is Social Security tax.
My only thing was the general, like the 72,000, so
Yes.
we overspent in professional services.
Yes.
72,000,
Yeah, so
we did not budget properly, or?
well, so what we did was that's the line item we took AccuBase out of. And
okay.
so the salary line item was more than $72,000
Right.
under budget.
Right.
So we,
That's the AccuBase line item.
yeah, so we didn't want to put AccuBase into the salaries line. So that's the driver portion of it.
Yes, that was way below employees if we had staffed it at regular.
So we should explain too, we're not exceeding a legal authority by doing this. It's within the fund. So
Everything's
we're
within the fund.
So we're not going over what our appropriate.
Standard bookkeeping procedures.
Yeah, no fund was over budget. No, yeah, this is just so we don't have a negative line.
Right, just between line items.
Yeah, exactly. Within the same fund.
Same fund.
Right.
Okay. Do you have a motion and a second? Okay, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Wilhite?
Yes.
Trustee Fordyce?
Yes.
Trustee Sam?
Yes.
Supervisor Pomeroy?
Yes. Next is the Knox Park parking lot resurfacing. Can we have a motion to approve a contract with Patriot Maintenance to resurface Knox Park parking lot in an amount not to exceed $123,718?
Motion.
Second. Any questions? We did it, right. Okay, Lucy, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Fordyce?
Yes.
Trustee Bowman? Supervisor Pomeroy?
Yes.
Trustee Wilhite?
Yes.
And Trustee Sam?
Yes.
Next is the MS4 study, which we do every year. Can we have a motion to approve Gaywalt Hamilton to complete our annual MS4 study in an amount not to exceed $9,450?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
This is required by state that we do this, just for people to know that's why I'm doing it.
It is. Stormwater, I get it. Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay, Lucy, will you call the roll?
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Wilhite?
Yes.
Trustee Fordyce?
Yes.
Trustee Sam?
Yes.
And Supervisor Pomeroy?
Yes. Next, I'd like a motion to approve moving BSNA to the cloud for a year one cost not to exceed $21,280.
Motion.
I'll second.
And we have had further discussion on this. We had quotes to discuss at the town meeting. And this was what we all determined was the best.
I think we need to give our township administrators some credit in negotiating this.
Yes.
Reduction. Good job. Yeah, good job.
So, do you have a motion in a second? Any other questions? Okay, Lucy, you call the roll.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Sam?
Yes.
Trustee Fordyce?
Yes.
Trustee Wilhite?
Yes.
And Supervisor Pomeroy?
Yes. Next is Andrews Technology. Once these books were printed, we received an alternative quote from another vendor, and so Ted's going to explain that a little bit before we go further on this.
So taking a step back, when we first reached out to BSNA, part of the pain points with our current makeup was the lack of communication between our current timekeeping software and BSNA.
Which is the accounting software.
Yes. So timekeeping in our accounting software, yes. So when I reached out to BSNA to upgrade to their cloud, they recommended that we go. Their preferred timekeeping software was Kronos. They rebranded to UKG. So I reached out to UKG. Had their whole presentation, and their initial presentation included way more services than the township would ever use. Additionally, they also required the payroll module, which we already paid to BSNA. So if we went with UKG, like straight purchased it from UKG, we'd be paying for the payroll module twice. So that obviously wasn't an option. On top of it, it was very expensive because, again, they included HR software, they included just things that we would never use. So I reached back out to BSNA, and they said, well, actually, our preferred vendor is UKG, but purchasing it through Andrews. So then I reached out to Andrews, and that's what's in front of it. After the board packet was printed,
Because Andrews had the current best pricing at that time.
correct, and it was their preferred vendor.
Correct.
So UKG, the direct salesperson, called me back, and I was like, yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to afford this. One, you guys are way more expensive, and two, you're selling this way more than we would ever need. We don't need the Cadillac, we just need timekeeping. And so, because I asked him that originally, when I got the quote was so much higher than what we were currently paying. And he said, yeah, unfortunately, there's no modifications we can make. Well, now that we're going to go in another direction, let me talk to my boss. So they talked to he presented a quote to me yesterday that is cheaper than Andrews, and would allow us to go directly to Kronos versus having to go to a third party, which is Andrews. So I would recommend that we table this for now. We're not in any time crunch. We pay time for month to month. We signed a 2-year contract back in February, or February of 23, so our term expires, so now we're just paying month to month. We can continue with BSNA migration without making any changes. So I would suggest we take a pause on this and let us evaluate both of those a little bit further.
At the next account meeting. So can we have a motion to table this to the next account meeting?
Motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, you call the roll, please? Okay. Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Wilhite?
Yes.
Trustee Fordyce?
Yes.
Trustee Sands?
Yes.
Supervisor Fonda?
Yes. Next is postcards. I know nobody received any documentation on this because we've been working on this hot and heavy all week trying to figure out what to do. I distributed a copy of a postcard on the dais. This is again a working copy where we can still tweak it if you'd like, but the goal would be to approve the purchase of this tonight. So that we could get this in production as soon as possible in the mail, because again, as we all know, this bill could come before vote in May. So the idea is
Time of the essence.
Is there going to be a call to do something with this? It's just information. There's not.
Yes, there is something that was missing that I realized after Jessica left today. So yes, we do need to call that in, but yes, it's missing.
And is this how it's actually going to look? Like with these colors and everything?
We were thinking the colors, and it lists all of our stamps that we do, like it says on the top, yes. But we do have to, there is something missing, and I'm sorry, but we were working on this till 5 o'clock as it was, and because we had the Facebook page and the e-class to do, and Jessica was out last week, so yes.
And is this, what's the audience? Is this going to go to all residents?
All
in our
residents
township?
in our township. So currently the postage is estimated at $4,600, and which is what we pay for a newsletter to go out. And the printing is about, right now we have a cost of $3,200. We're waiting to see if we can get we're waiting for another estimate to come in. So that's this size.
And how many?
About 50,000.
No,
Two. That's almost 50,000.
21,000
That's really
households. 21,000 households. What's high?
that costs for a postcard.
Okay, well, we've called 2 or 3. We're waiting still to hear back from, I think, American Litho. I don't remember, but I have a note here. She's got, the only quote I have right now is from Schneider. And she's got waiting for quotes to come back from the other 2.
Okay, well, I do this for a living, so I could give you some places to call.
But they have to go out immediately.
There's a chance this bill will die on tomorrow.
Right, so we won't go anywhere until we know where it is tomorrow.
So what's the total cost?
Right now it's $7,800, which is the cost of a newsletter, which we didn't do in the fall.
Right.
I make a motion to approve.
So let's still have a discussion.
4,600 is postage.
You can still discuss, I mean, a motion.
And again, if the bill's killed tomorrow, we won't do it. I'm just, that's obvious.
You motion?
Yes.
Who's second?
Well, wait, I didn't give a total yet. We need at least $7,800.
So, just for a point of clarification, 2504 is currently in the executive committee. when they've extended out the due date to make progress on it, and tomorrow is that most recent deadline. That is very likely not going to be the end of it, even if tomorrow comes and goes, especially because it's a governor's initiative, and it's being sponsored by
It'll go from one committee to the next.
the Senate president. So the most likely scenario, what MTA and what TOI are both expecting is they will do another continuance, and they will continue to pass continuances until the governor says now it's time. So it is possible that the bill will die tomorrow, but that is
not likely.
It's not likely.
So, back to cost. So, we're saying it's $7,800, and it's going to go to $21,000 every household in Ela Township. And that was $21,000.
Correct.
The language that, did you just copy this from the bill? Like when it says Ela Township Assessor's Office was closed, you got that straight from the bill?
Well, it doesn't say Ela Township's Assessor's Office.
Well, it does say Ela Township's Assessor's Office was closed.
The bill doesn't say that.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Where did this language come from?
The bill, well, if 2504 passes, and if the steps required after that happen, so if there's a if there's a referendum and the voters of Ela Township or the voters of the county, depending on the method, come to fruition, then yes, all township property goes to the county, and that includes the role of the assessor. All of that would then happen at the county level.
The Ela Township assessor would be gone, but there's still an assessor that is the county and maybe a satellite office or two.
Yeah, they most likely need to have satellite offices, but the Ela Township assessor's office was closed because it wouldn't be in Ela Township.
So if this bill passes, what's the timing on a petition?
Well, so
There's a couple different options here.
good question. So if so the first step is 2504 has to pass, or the language in 2504 needs to be put into law. There's multiple avenues in which that could happen. It could happen straight from 2504. It could happen in an omnibus bill. It could happen in a shell bill, or it could just be straight up included in the budget.
The state budget.
The state budget.
And what does the state budget do?
May. So if any of those four happen,
This is time of the essence.
then that would reduce the petition threshold from 10% of registered voters in Ela, which is 33,000 plus.
Right.
So currently you would need 3,350 whatever signatures to force a ballot initiative. If the language of 2504 is enacted, it becomes 5% of actual voters in the last township election.
Which is a reduced amount from previous.
So that would be roughly, we would go from about 3,300 to to about 250. So
The last election, meaning April 1?
meaning this most recent election, right? So if the bill, let's just pretend the bill comes into law tomorrow, and in May somebody sends out a jewel and gets 300 people to sign the petition, the referendum goes on the ballot at the next township election.
Which is 4 years?
Which would be 4 years from now, correct. The concerning issue is with the petition threshold dropping so drastically, this could be something that happens every 4 years. It's a mighty Herculean task to get 3,300 people to sign something. 250 is significantly easier. So that's the one concerning point. The second concerning point is the county board, if they passed a resolution, it would be a county-wide referendum, so no petitions are required. The county board could mandate that the referendum be on every township's ballot, and even if 100% of the township voters voted to keep us, if the other 17 townships, if their voters, if the majority voted to abolish, all 18 of us are in the same boat. So all 18 disappeared.
But does this apply to our township? I thought there were certain levels about how many residents, if it's over 50,000, where is all that?
No, so the only language in 2504 regarding a specific number is the 50,000 for assessors' offices. So any township with under 50,000 would automatically lose their assessor. No referendums or anything.
Yeah, but it's not us.
But everything else is us. No, our assessor's office would still be
right. Yeah. But everything else.
But everything else is us, right? Yeah. So we wouldn't immediately lose the assessor's office. but everything we just talked about would happen. Could happen.
Could.
Yeah. And
Could die.
if 2504 passes, then again, we're now 250 signatures away from having it be on every 4 years ballot to abolish the township. Or
Abolish or consolidate? Because I thought what they were saying, which I think in terms of like saving money and cost efficiencies, I thought they were saying consolidate certain things.
So consolidation is an option, and what that would look like, it would require two adjacent townships, so let's just use us and Vernon as an example. If we wanted to merge with Vernon, Ela voters would have to sign the petition, and Vernon voters would have to sign the petition, and then both bodies would have to approve the merger. Then Ela and Vernon, in this instance, would consolidate. So that's what the consolidation language is referencing.
Can I say something? This is the fourth time in 35 years that they've been trying to get rid of townships.
So,
we're aware.
Yes, this is something that is not new in speaking of abolishing townships. However, it's never been included in a budget initiative before, which is the concerning language here. Because again, now there's more avenues to get the language of this bill passed.
Which is the third thing you're going to talk about how Bill Hipperster could include it in his budget, and then it's done.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So, like I said, there's 4 different ways the language of 2504 could become into law. 2504 in and of itself. It could be, the language of 2504 can be thrown in on page 200 of an omnibus bill. It can be thrown in there. It could be included in what they call a shell bill, or it can be stuck in the budget. So there's multiple ways in which 2504 could become law.
So what is going to be the call to action, and what would this change for people?
So this would tie to our other call to action was to write a letter for me to present to our representatives in Springfield.
The same thing that was on Facebook, pretty much, correct?
Correct.
And the email.
And the email, correct.
So, just to clarify, $7,800 to ask people to write letters, right?
Well, I mean, it's also to bring awareness to the township in general, right? That's why we include the public.
Goes to vote. I mean,
Say it again, sorry, Larry, I didn't hear you.
pardon me?
I didn't hear your comment.
I said to understand exactly what's going to educate what's going on with townships and what downstate is trying to do. It's an educational program.
I like the idea of it. I just think if it's such an important bill, I think we should get a graphic designer to do and make sure the messaging is a little clearer on this. I mean, if we're spending $7,800, let's make sure it's clear and precise. And I mean, it's a very nice piece, but if it's that important, we're spending that money, I think it needs to look professional and make sure that the message. Because Tasky being a trustee, just what is the language of the bill? People were asking on Facebook today in different groups, what does this mean? There's, we need to have like a facts section on the website too, so people can answer, they can see what the answers are.
We should have the website here too, so we can have more information on the website, which is not on there yet either. But again,
You don't want to make it too complicated.
if it's too much, they won't read it.
Right.
I know. Keep it simple, and I wasn't asking about, I was saying, is this language accurate? Because I think it's confusing. Again, everybody, it's,
I don't understand.
I have to finish. What I'm saying is, common sense and cost efficiencies are when I've been talking to neighbors and everybody wants to just make sure we're using tax dollars appropriately. And all I was saying with this language is, when I mentioned the Ela Township Assessor's Office, I was just saying making sure this language is accurate. I agree with Trustee Hoy. Let's just keep it simple, clear, but I just don't want to rush to spend $7,800 because this bill might die. And at the end of the day, it's not our money, so we always have to do the best that we can. So.
But if it's after the fact, what's the point?
You won't have to enter townships or down.
What's after the fact? I mean, what's the point then?
So the goal is to try and get this to mailboxes by May 1st.
What's the deadline, I guess,
Within the next 2 weeks.
within the next 2 weeks?
Well, hopefully, if we were going to ask for more letters, which of course isn't in here, we would know that we need those by April 29th.
And
So
the
that's
villages
2 weeks.
are aware of
That's 2 weeks.
and
And you went to Springfield, so when you talked to the representative, senator, and rep, they were in favor of Pritzker or not, or they saw the value of township?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, the latter. Yeah, they definitely felt that mass township consolidation is not in the best interest of state of Illinois, but unfortunately, this language, because it's a part of the governor's budget initiative, and because his party controls both chambers of the supermajority, it's going to be, the general consensus is it's going to be hard for this bill not to pass if the governor rules himself.
I have to say, this is the strongest push I've seen out of four. This is really
Which is, again, why we're kind of
strong.
That's why we started a campaign. We were told to start a campaign, and that's what we were doing. We do need to.
Is this what TOI is recommending?
As far as what?
This type of dissemination to the community?
They have a different letter out there, so to speak, about what it means to them, but they had a whole sheet on the back of the page similar to this, of all the things that we do. They have a different type of format to them, but they do have a whole page on their website. I don't know if it's on their website. I look for it, but I know they emailed it to me. I don't know what they were doing with it, though.
Yeah, and just to further elaborate, when we were at the meeting last night, every township kind of went around in circles and said what they're doing, and it's all about community outreach at this point.
So give an example of what's another township doing?
It's in their newsletters, on their website, infographics, mailers. I mean, not necessarily postcards, but it was included in their our newsletter. So everybody's taking this very seriously. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to get to.
So if this passes, let's just say Pritzker gets his way, and somebody can get 200 signatures, and the people can decide whether they want townships to be consolidated or not.
well, that's one of the options. The other is to do away with. So you keep saying consolidation is doing away with is the other alternative. It's not clear cut. And if downstate has their ways to do away with townships to get the low hanging fruit.
And if this passes, you have no say so who's going to be consolidated and who's going to be eliminated. It's all going to be told to you.
Also, would it be possible, because I did see it in the last email, to get it on the emails of the villages of Kildare and have Kildare send it out, and Lake Zurich send it out, and Mongrove send it out as well?
Yeah, so when we had a final draft, we were going to send it out to the municipalities to just...
Okay, I was just thinking of you sending out what we used on our email.
Oh, I can do that too? That's good.
I mean, it's up to you, but just to get the outreach.
I spoke with the chamber today, and I spoke to two of the village administrators there, and they were writing letters, and I said they would do it next week. That's all from what's in Kildare.
And possibly we could do an e-blast at the chamber too, to send
They said
out.
they would post it as well. Again, this was just, we've been working on the e-blast one day, then the next day working on Facebook, this day, we're working on this. It was board packets, it was a town meeting week. This was the best we could do in one day.
I get it.
And we had to get all the stats from everybody. But you're right, I mean, it is sort of incomplete, but we do need to fix it. But this was a start, and we're trying to get approval. And then once we know whether tomorrow it gets continued, the idea was to go to the printer on Monday.
And our town meeting is in 2 weeks, right?
So we can have 23rd. That would be too late. So, how do we move forward? I have a motion.
I have a motion to proceed. I think time is of the essence. Is this perfect? No. But I think it's time of the essence to try to protect all of the things that Ela Township's done through the senior programs, the highway department, the assessor's office. I mean, all of the great things that the township has done, not just in Ela, but township government.
And the boss, how many people we transfer?
Yeah. I think time is of the essence, and I think it needs to be done, and I think it's
So
well
how
spent
about
$7,000.
How about this, we update?
If anything, it's a good educational program to continue what we're trying to do for years, to educate members of Ela Township voters of what the township does.
It could be close because all townships do not do what Ela Township does.
Correct.
You know, in our township, 199 people, they meet in their basement.
Correct.
So it could be,
So I have a motion to approve.
This could be close.
So we still need a second, but I was going to say that, I don't know if we'll know tomorrow before we leave the office, but worst case scenario, we can tweet this tomorrow and then email it out to everybody, and then know by Monday whether we're doing it and move forward. But I would still need approval for the cost. Excuse me. So, do we have the consensus that we're okay with moving something forward? Sorry.
Just one last thing. I went to the Chamber Expo the other day, and I had just missed Senator Hills, but I did speak to Representative Saeed, and she said she's opposed to this, and she thinks that there's not a likelihood it's going to pass. So I understand the importance of it. I just rather have it go out and have it represent Township well instead of just throwing something out there to get information out. That's just my opinion.
I think time is of the essence here.
I would agree with that comment, but we're out of time here, so, and I wouldn't want to take the chance. I mean,
Well, I don't know if I agree with that it's being thrown out there, but I mean, we did work to get all this stuff together, so.
No, I think the work was done in a time manner, but for me, to spend $700-800 of money that's not my own, I mean, I'm going to vote no on it, but everybody can vote how they
And
want.
then what would you do if the townships go?
I think it's not just, oh, they're just going to go. I mean, that's kind of premature. I think there's going to be a process. There's going to be, it's just not going to go like that. But
I'm sorry. That's naive. That's naive.
In the dream world.
This is.
I'm not going to change what I said.
I'm tired.
I know.
You don't think it's worth $700-800 to keep the township?
Do you want to call and have them roll for?
Yeah, find it. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I look at that, I think this is well put together to protect the services we provide. And you look at this from our departments to our residents, I think we're in a position that people rely on that. They utilize this, and that cost to make sure that they're aware and that they don't lose these benefits, if benefits is the word, I'm in favor of doing it.
I'll tell you, the seniors will be crushed if they go away.
All right.
I mean, Kevin and I met and spoke to, we were there, twice during Morning Movers, and they're like, what do you mean we're going away? And they're all panicking, so to speak, I would say.
Actually, I would say with the Facebook post, it's been youth parents that have been emailing us.
Yeah,
because they're more likely to see on Facebook. And they have.
Correct. They all know what we mean for homework club and the summer camp program and social.
So you spend $78 and then what if this dies? Then what?
We'll be happy.
It's good educational money spent to educate the community on what the township does.
It's always easy to say it when it's not. When it's other people's money. But again, we can, if everybody's in favor, that's fine.
Okay, we need a second then. We'll move forward.
The motion needs to include the
Am I here in the audience?
Pardon?
I think it would be money well spent. I was on this board for 18 years. What's going to happen is this passes, our taxes are going to go up.
Sure.
We're the highest taxed state in the country right now. And all Pritzker wants is more money and more money. And the services are going to be, for the road district alone, the county can't handle it. So they're going to bring in more people that are union and everything else. Our taxes are going to go up, and it's going to cost us a lot more. And like Larry said, it's an educational piece, and I think you ought to have in there, if this goes through, your taxes will increase because they cannot do the services that the townships do throughout the state for what townships.
How many times did the county come to you or the state came to the highway department asking for help? And we would have never got paid for the help that we did, but how many times?
That's not it, but the
It was
county
ridiculous.
can't.
They can't handle it.
The county can't do the road district. The county's already been through the assessor thing. They can't handle the assessments. I think it's a good educational thing, and I think you ought to have in there that your taxes are going to go up. There's no doubt about
And
it.
your services are going to disappear.
Yep. And
I agree, but we can't include that language in our bills. We have to be very careful about what we
well, you can say there'd be a possibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you put that in there, it's going to go. I mean, we passed up California with taxes now.
Yeah.
I mean, we just came back from Arizona. The highest place that we bought gas coming across the country from Arizona, Illinois. We're 30 to 40 cents higher. Well, Oklahoma, we're almost 75 cents higher than Oklahoma in fuel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Again, the motion needs to include the.
I'm sorry. Oh, so, well, we knew it was a minimum of 7,800, I believe, right? So we're going to ask for 8,000? We were talking, we weren't sure exactly what, because there could be a couple extra postages. Again, this is an estimate. And we didn't really come down to a number of 8. We go with 8?
So I'll re-amend the motion not to exceed $8,000.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a second already.
Trustee Wilhite, yeah. He's kind of quiet there. Okay. Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Wilhite?
Come back to me.
Pardon me?
Come back to me. I'm just still thinking of it.
Oh,
I think
you
it's
second.
I know. I second doesn't mean, yeah.
Well, no, that's just going to be close to second.
I know.
Okay. Trustee Sam?
Yes.
Trustee U4DK? No.
And I'll say yes.
Yes?
But I'd like to see the
Supervisor Pamela? Yes. You guys are missing on my paper. Okay. Any reason to go into executive session? Any reason? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee U4DK?
yes.
Trustee Wilhite? Yes. Trustee Sam?
Yes.
And Supervisor Pamela?
Yes.
And we're done.